Today's show is sponsored by the ABV Network Merchandise Shop. Pick up your logo merchandise by heading over to abvnetwork.com, clicking on Shop, and start filling your basket today. We are also sponsored by the Bar to Go. The Bar to Go offers a fully customizable carrying case that allows you to take your favorite distilled spirits or cocktail ingredients with you. Whether you're looking for something for yourself, a customized gift, or logoed items for your business gift shop, the Bar to Go can help. Check them out at thebar2go.com. That's the number 2 in the Bar to Go. Don't forget our friends at Neely Family Distillery now ship their unique distilled spirits directly to you. To order yours, simply call 859-394-3258. Tell them the ABV Network sent you. And now, on to the show.
Let's drink!
Welcome to the Bourbon Daily, the podcast about everything bourbon delivered to you every day of the week. Today on the show, we complete a bracket challenge to determine the best Bourbon Mashbill. My name is McNew. Please join me in welcoming my co-host, Steve Akeley, along with our special guests, Jessica Fullerton, Royce Neely, and Andrew Wiehebrink.
Hey, gang, what's up?
Hey, everybody.
Hey, so we've got a fun show today. Should be good. We're going to be talking about the best bourbon mash bill. We've narrowed it down to 8, and from those 8, we will determine which is the best via a bracket challenge. Can't wait for that. But before we get to all that, Royce said there's something he wanted to talk about. What is that, Royce?
So I was working one of our cameras, and we were putting in some of the stuff in the new tour room. One of the cameras got disconnected. We had to knock out a portion of the wall to be able to get back up into it to rehook it up. While I was doing that, I was using the chisel to knock it out, and I didn't smash my finger, but I smashed the inside of my hand pretty good. So my question to you guys is, what's the worst time, or have you ever smashed your hand or smashed your finger?
Smashed your finger. Well, not doing manual labor. This is one of the areas where it works out well for me. Really no hand smashes on record. So yeah, I mean, that I can't fix anything, but I've never hurt myself fixing anything either, other than when I was cleaning the attic one time, but that had nothing to do with fixing anything. I was straightening up. So
I first started at ISC. We had to go through this 10-week training program where you had to work every job in the cooperage, every job in the mill. You had to buy logs. Anyway, so when I finally got back to the coopering job, I was never very good with the sledgehammer. We have these 2.5-pound sledgehammers, and I had a hoop driver, and I was nailing down some rings, and I just went to town on it, completely missed the driver. It slipped and just right on my thumb.
Oh,
yeah.
How bad was it?
It was bad. Lost the nail, and it was
Those hoop drivers are dangerous anyways. I was hit by those once, and it slid off, tore the whole side of my hand up when it went down into the barrel.
Yeah, it hurt. It was
Did you have to act like it didn't hurt because you've got the Coopers there, and you want to act cool around those guys? You don't want to be like, oh, here's the rookie fucking things up. So did you have to act like, oh, no big deal?
No, I didn't have any shame. I mean, that was a 2.5. Yeah, it
hurt. Screaming and stuff.
I didn't scream. I
heard they were screaming. I
was mad at first, and then I just kind of walked away and just kind of was like, yeah, that's going to stay for a while. So.
What do you think would have happened, Royce, to Jeff Kaplan if that would have happened to him? I mean, for God's sakes, he passed out when he was getting a shoe tattooed on a Homer Simpson tattoo on his arm. Oh, and then just passed out. Something like that injury. He'd have been down for the count, right? That would have been a hospitalization. I have to.
Just laughing from the other room.
Oh. And then he was out. Yeah. And then he comes to, and he's like, I'm done. It's done. Like, hey, you really should finish it. So he did get the tattoo. He's got the tattoo now. I don't think he's getting another one though. I think that's going to be it.
I'll tell you, if he ever did smash his finger, Manny would be there to document it for the rest of his life.
That's true. He'd be begging her not to tell, and she'd go ahead and tell. So okay. Yeah. Mandy's an open book. So yes, we get to hear all the cool stuff that even when Jeff doesn't want the story to be told. So fun stuff. McNew, how about you? You tend to get handy when your husband or when he was your boyfriend, when he wouldn't do things, then you would start to be like, well, I can do this. And then ultimately, then
yeah, I still do. I changed our damn screens this weekend because I asked him for 2 months. So I just did it myself.
So have you ever had like a smashed hand out of one of these DIYs?
I can't remember doing like smashing my hands or my fingers, but I do walk into a lot of shit. I just do. And stubbing toes, I stub my toes all the time. And I honestly would rather cut off my leg than stub my toe. Like, I feel
How
like
bad
that's
is
worst
a toe
pain
stub? A bad toe stub
in the world.
is some of the worst pain you can have.
Yeah, I can't deal with it. I do it all the time, and it just makes me so angry.
Jessica, I don't know. You ever hand smashed repairing something?
I mean, I bust my knuckles open all the time on the barrel rings, and I'm getting into them. But I don't know. I mean, I smash my fingers. Yeah. I mean, I probably don't look like I'm kind of outdoorsy, so I'll be hammering, whatever staking down tin, smack my fingers. I mean, it happens, but busting my knuckles open, that happens and that hurts. So often. That's what I am.
Are you going to be past those times soon when you get this assistant? Will the assistant do all those manual labor?
Oh yeah, I just get to drink my Ethiopian blend medium ground coffee, and they get to like go. Open that
I can't wait to see this. I can't wait to see Jessica's assistant. All right. Well, gang, it is time to drink. What is everyone drinking? Let's start this time with McNew. She went last time, so she'll kick this one off.
I'm going to do some Russell's 10.
Okay. Okay, not much there. Wiehebrink?
Actually, I've just got a screw top. So
Screw top, okay.
Weller 107.
Okay, Weller 107, one of the old ones with the screw top. I've got still 630. This is batch 1 of their Missouri bourbon, so it's a collector's item that I'm going to drink. Ooh, that's enough to take the lead. It can be beat, but it was pretty darn good. So I've got the lead. Royce, you're next.
I have some Makers 46.
Oh, not enough. Good, but not great. Not enough to take me over. We did a dipping challenge at Maker's Mark. Royce, Becca, and I won that thing. So yeah.
Slam dunk it.
Yeah, I tried. They apparently got tired of people doing that, so now they put like a false bottom in there, so you can't get it very far. I did it. I did as far as I could. Then I even tilted sideways too to try to get the most you can. And the lady was like basically trying to grab my hand, and I then pulled it out. But it worked out good. It was a great dip. I won a championship of the world. I mean, it was a big deal. We played a board game that night, and that didn't count for anything. What was important to win was the dipping contest.
I won the board game, if anybody's
wondering.
That didn't count for anything, though. It was all about the dipping.
What board game was it, though?
We played a game called Listography. I don't know if you ever. It's pretty fun, actually. So we'll get a round of that going sometime when we all get together. Maybe I'll have this group together. I'll have you guys all over.
Hey, that'd be really fun to do with a bunch of bourbon people, like bourbon only.
I know. Yeah, just do bourbon only topics. It's actually, believe it or not, it's actually a really fun game, right, Royce? I mean, we're not even kidding. It's good. All right, Jessica, how about you? What do you got there?
Yeah, so I also have some Missouri bourbon here. So it's very straight. Old cork though. Let me see.
Ooh, I think she got me. I think she did it. Jessica's 2 for 2 on the cork pops. So yeah, there you go. Cheers, gang.
Cheers.
All right. We'll take a quick break, and then when we come back, it's Bourbon Mashbill time. We're going to tell you guys which one's the best. We'll do that in just a few. Hello, this is Steve Akeley, owner of the ABV Network, and let's talk for a moment about our sponsors, the people that make this show happen. First up is our friends at Moonshine University. In 2017, I completed my Executive Bourbon Steward certification at their office in Louisville. The information I learned through lead instructor Colin Blake and their team there is something that I continue to draw upon frequently in my role at the ABV Network. It truly is the standard of establishing a benchmark of knowledge of the bourbon industry. From history to production to brands and people, it's all there. Check out their full listing of programs, including Executive Bourbon Steward certification, production classes if you're considering starting a distillery, and much more at moonshineuniversity.com. I also want to talk about Neely Family Distillery. Back in May of 2018, I met Royce Neely at Limestone Branch's Craft Bourbon Festival. It ended up not only being the start of a great friendship, I started to truly learn about what makes craft whiskey so amazing. You see, I had been a bourbon drinker for over 30 years at that point, and like many people who had been drinking bourbon a long time, I was hard-coded into thinking big bourbon was where it was at and craft was on a journey to get there. Spending time with Royce and learning the things he does to make his whiskey taste better started to really get me to appreciate how things like sweet mashing, open top fermentation, pot distillation, and the grains you are using not only makes your product taste better coming off the still, but also out of the barrel as well. I still love heritage brands and they make up a bulk of my collection. But when you find a craft distiller that is truly dedicated to the craft of distilling, you are drinking some of the best whiskey out there on the market today. That's exactly what's happening at Neely Family Distillery today. Check them out on the web at neelyfamilydistillery.com, or better yet, stop by and see them at their distillery in Sparta, Kentucky. And now, back to the show.
Hey, this is Paul Russo, and you're listening to The Bourbon Daily.
Welcome back to the Bourbon Daily. Today we have a bracket challenge to determine the best bourbon mash bill.
Yes. Right now, the audience has no idea what we're talking about. They get bourbon mash bill, but they're probably thinking, the wild turkey mash bill versus. No, we're talking in very generalities here. So these are kind of at the highest level. So this is kind of how we categorize them. So it's a low rye mash bill. These are all bourbon mash bills, by the way. So it would be low rye, high rye, wheated, 4-grain, 100% corn, heirloom corn, an oats mash bill, and a rye and wheat combo mash bill. So that's the competitors. Here's how they're going to stack up against one another. The high rye will take on heirloom corn in round 1. Round 2 is low rye versus wheated. Then we got the rye and wheat combo taking on the 4-grain. So all the combo ones going against one another, apparently. And the 100% corn taking on the oats. Our job is to determine what we would like best. Again, just talking generalities here, not looking to any distillery specific, say, we're compare this mash bill versus, no, this is just in general. If you had to choose, what would you choose if you're going to be making some bourbon? Round number 1, Jessica, you are first. What do you think is a better bourbon mash bill, a high rye mash bill or an heirloom corn mash bill? Oh, she better answer this in a certain way. Gary's probably in the room there hovering, making sure she answers this correctly.
Right over there. So
yeah, the guy who loves corn more than anybody else. Yeah.
I would say that before I started working at Woodhead, I still do really like high rye bourbon mash bills. Being that I drink heirloom corn mash bills, every day. And I guess that's what I'm using to make bourbon. So let's heirloom corn.
So just blink out YES if that's what you actually want. If not, we'll change it on your behalf so Gary doesn't know. No, this is a tough matchup though. High rye, that's the classic bourbon mash bill, right? I mean, that's the vintage. But the heirloom corn, that's a tough one. This is a tough matchup. Heirloom corn is up 1-0. Royce, what do you think? High rye versus heirloom corn.
So I like both of them, obviously.
And they could be mixed, of course, but we're just separating it out here.
This is a tough one, but so I've had some really great heirloom corn bourbons. I've had some not so great heirloom corn bourbons. To me, high rye bourbons are more consistently quality.
Okay.
So I'm going to go with high rye bourbons.
All right. That seems to be well thought out. It's tied up 1-1. Mr. Wiehebrink, what do you think?
I kind of like Royce's answer there in the sense that, you've had some good ones and you've had some bad ones. I did a little bit of work with heirloom corns before I started at ISC, so they kind of hold a special place in my heart, but I'm going to go with high rye.
High rye goes up 2-1 over heirloom corn. What do you think, McNew? Heirloom corn or high rye?
It took me a long time to get into ryes, and I like them now, but I'm picky about them. So I'm going to go with heirloom corn.
Heirloom corn. Okay. All right. So we're tied up 2-2. We are split heirloom corn versus high rye. I am going to split this vote. It's unfortunate I have to do this by going with what I think is the classic, what drives the industry. That is the high rye bourbon mash bill. We'll move on. Round 2, Royce, you're going to be first. The low rye bourbon mash bill versus the wheated mash bill. Which do you think should emerge out of those two?
So this is difficult.
Imagine you're at a tasting and this is how they're labeled. They're just bottles. It's just generic bottles. And this is what it says. High rye mash bill, heirloom corn. One says low rye mash bill. One says wheated. Which one are you grabbing to take a taste of, my friend?
Yeah. I mean, so low rye mash bills, classic. I mean, the greatest bourbon arguably ever made was a low rye mash bill with the A.H. Hirsch, but you can't go against the wheated mash bill in general. So I'm going to go with the wheated mash bill.
Wheated mash bill goes up 1-0. Wiehebrink, what do you think?
I do like the wheated mash bill. So, one of my favorites of all time is just the, classic Weller 107. Always consistent, always really, really good. I'm going to go with the wheat.
All right. Wheated goes up 2-0, and it goes to McNew, who is definitely a wheated bourbon drinker. What are your thoughts here, McNew?
You can just close this one out. It's a wheated.
Wheated. It's going to set up a final four where high rye will take on wheated. That's just like classic bourbon matchup there. All right. Next one is a combo. It's a rye and wheat mash bill taking on a 4-grain. And again, think about it like that. That's what you see labeled. Which one are you picking up to drink first, Mr. Wiehebrink? The rye and wheat combo or the 4-grain?
I'm going to go with the 4-grain. I've had some interesting ones as of late. They've all been really good.
Okay. McNew, what do you think?
I've had some interesting 4 grains and I've had like some weird 4 grains. I'm going to go with rye and wheat.
Rye and wheat. She has split the vote here. It goes to me next. I'm going to go with the 4-grain as well. It seems to be that is something that is kind of hitting its stride right now. Seems like, as Wiehebrink mentioned, seems like there's a lot of them all of a sudden. So, and I like them for the most part. To McNew's point, there's some that make it through, but that aren't great. But for the most part, it's pretty good. Jessica, what do you think? Here's where we're at. 4-grain is up 2-1 over rye and wheat combo. What do you think?
I've been hit or miss on 4-grain, but I think there's some interesting things that can happen with 4-grain. So I'm going 4-grain.
4-grain. That means 4-grain moves on. All right. Next up, round number 4. McNew, you are going to be first. 100% corn or an oat grain bourbon mash bill. Oat being the secondary.
I think there's just something really special about 100% corn. Like it's sweeter, it's nicer. I love those.
100% corn. So she goes 100% corn. I'm going to go the other way. The oats adds a different mouthfeel. It just makes it for a different bourbon drinking experience, and I like it from the ones that I've tried. So I'm going to go with the oats. So it means we've tied it up. Jessica, you're next. 100% corn or oats bourbon mash bills.
I know that. Yeah, I mean, I know that with Wet Hat, I love my corn whiskey. We do a lot of different things with heirloom corn varieties, but I agree with you. Oats. I mean, if I was going to do my own, oats just gives it that really nice creamy.
Yeah.
So I'd really like to try and play around with that. Oats.
All right, Royce, what do you think? 100% corn or oats? Oats is up 2-1 over 100% corn right now.
So I like 100% corn. However, I love the 4-grain we do that has high oats in it. Like you said, Akeley, I like the mouthfeel that it gives, and I really like just the different characteristics that it throws off. And a lot of times for a 4-grain, it's appealing. So
yeah,
go with oats.
That means oats moves on. So I don't know. This is kind of the classic versus the sweetheart alternative. It's the way it worked out. Just random here. High rye versus wheated. That's classic. That's classic matchup. And then you've got the 4-grain versus the oats. This is kind of the one that people are kind of dancing with right now. Kind of. So exciting stuff going on. So round number 5, high rye versus wheated. Unfortunately, this is going to start with me. Man, I'll tell you what. This is going to go back to that thing of there's 2 bottles sitting there, and all I know is it's high rye, and I know it's wheated, and I know that they're bourbons. And I think if I would pick one over the other, not knowing, because high rye is so commonplace, and wheated is not as common, and can be really good when it's at its best. I think I'd want to try that. I think my interest would be piqued. I think that the wheated would be the more interesting one for me, and that's what I'm going to vote for. Jessica, how about you? High rye or wheated?
I've always gravitated towards high rye. I just think that I just like it when they have that little bit of a bite to them, and they're high rye or high proof. So high rye.
High rye. All right, Royce, we're tied up here. High rye 1-1 with wheated. What do you think?
Tough one. I think the industry could survive, do okay without high rise. I don't think it does as well without wheats. So I'm going with wheats.
That means wheats goes up 2-1. Wiehebrink, what do you think?
Again, tough one. I mean, my favorite drinker, 107, is a wheated bourbon, but, I've also had a lot of really, really, really good high rise, probably more high rise than I've had good wheats. So I'm going to have to stick with my drinker and just go wheats.
All right. That means your wheated bourbon does move on to the finale. All right. The other one we've got here is 4-grain and oats taking on one another. Round number 6. Jessica, you're going to be first. Would you prefer a 4-grain or an oats?
I'm going to stick with that 4-grain.
4-grain.
That 4-grain.
4-grain goes up 1-0. Next up is Royce. Royce, what do you think?
I'd love to have a 4-grain with oats in it. But
it might, but you can't make that part of it. Yeah.
The problem with 4-grains a lot of times is I don't think that rye and wheats go together very well. I think the two flavors clash. So I think a lot of 4-grains are not as good as they could be. So I'm going to go with oatmeal.
Okay. The oats has tied it back up. Wiehebrink, what do you think? 4-grain or oats?
I am going to go with 4-grain. Just I don't have a lot of experience with oats. I think I may have had one whiskey. I can't remember. I'm going to go with 4-grain.
Okay. All right. That means that 4-grain is up 2-1. McNew, you're next.
Yeah, like I said, I've had some weird 4-grains that were just like off-putting for whatever reason. And like maybe like Royce said, like the rye and wheats don't go well together. Maybe that's why. I just haven't liked a lot of them. So I'm going to go with oats.
Yeah. And while 4-grain was on the verge of eliminating oats, the tables have been turned, and I'm going to vote for oats. And I am going to say that will move on. Again, I like what's going on with mouthfeel and just the taste that it adds and complexity. So I'm going to go oats. Means we're set up with the final of wheated versus oats. What do we think is the preferable bourbon mash bill? Royce, you are first.
2 grains that go well together, wheat and oats. But I'm going to go with wheats.
Wheats goes up 1-0. Wiehebrink, what do you think? Wheats or oats?
Wheats all the way.
Wheats goes up 2-0. McNew.
Wheats.
That means wheat is the preferred bourbon mash bill. Any other thing that you're doing right now, you should toss out and get rid of and go with 100%. Everyone goes with wheat because that is the right answer, at least according to this poll. So now we like the mixture. We like all the different things everyone's doing, but we thought it would be fun just to see what is the best. And apparently the wheated bourbon is the best. There you go. All right. Well, we'll wrap this one up as we always do by talking about where people can find us. Jessica, we'll start with you. Where can people find you?
Yeah, you can find me at Glass Half Fullerton. I promise I'm there now on Instagram.
All right.
Instagram.
All right.
You can find me at the Distillery in Sparta, Kentucky. You can find me at NeelyFamilyDistillery.com or at Neely Family Distillery on Facebook and Instagram.
All right. Wiehebrink.
You can find me on Instagram at Andrew in Kentucky.
Okay. McNew.
I'm also on Instagram at McNew ABV.
I'm also on Instagram as well as Facebook and Twitter under the name @Steve Akeley. So check that out. I've also got a website that is steveakeley.com. We don't talk about that one too much because nothing's really going on there, but abvnetwork.com, a lot of stuff's going on. We have a shop. We have all kinds of virtual bourbon classes where you can learn about things. You can taste whiskeys and things like that. And then of course we've got all of our shows and a lot more stuff too. So check us out at abvnetwork.com. McNew, anything else to say before we get out of here?
I'd like to remind the audience to please give us a 5-star review that includes comments. It helps new people find the show, which is very important to us. And if you like what we're doing, we ask that you please visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/the ABV Network.
All right. Great job today, gang. For audience, we'll have a brand new show for you tomorrow. Looking forward to that. Until then, take care, everybody. See ya.
Bye.
Later.
Bye.
Peace. Before we finish the show, let's chat for a moment about Moonshine Still Pro. Moonshine Still Pro has a full line of products to help the home distiller. Whether you just want to experiment on a small scale on the stove in your kitchen or try your hand at a bigger setup in the backyard, Moonshine Still Pro can help. They have different still offerings as well as accessories and even grains from Goldstone Mill to help you make whiskey on par with what you get from your favorite distillery. They can even assist with a DIY still project by supplying some of the parts you can't make yourself. Check them out at moonshinestillpro.com. At the ABV Network, we're lucky enough to have some great friends. Amongst those friends is the Goldstein family, owners of Goldstone Mill. Goldstone Mill is a full-service mill offering a variety of heritage and heirloom grains. Their unique approach of working with mills around the country allows them to offer you affordable shipping opportunities to meet the unique needs of your distillery or brewery. They will consult with you to ensure the grains you are selecting meets the unique flavor profiles you are looking for. If you are a home brewer or distiller and you're looking for the grains that your local distillery or brewery uses, Goldstone Mill is the place to look. Check them out on the web at goldstonemill.com, call them at 217-254-6613, or shoot them an email at hello@goldstonemill.com.
The Bourbon Daily is part of the ABV Network. For more information or to become a sponsor, please visit abvnetwork.com. Thanks for listening and cheers.
This has been a Steve Akeley production.